The anime begins with a male high school senior named Kenichi Shirahama, who likes martial arts books. Kenichi has joined the karate club at his school, but his physical is very weak, and he gets the nickname the weak leg. While at the club, he is badly beaten by Makoto Daimonji. After that, he challenges Kenichi to a duel next week. If he loses, then he will be expelled from the club. Until finally, he met a female student named Miu Furinji. When he came home from school, Kenichi saw Miu being bullied by some bad boys. He tried to help her. Unfortunately, his still weak physique made it impossible for him to do much, and then she beat up the bad boys. Seeing her excellent karate skills made Kenichi feel envious. Miu suggested he come to a dojo named reincarnation. Arriving there, Kenichi was surprised because the dojo was Miu's house, while her grandfather is the owner of the dojo named Hayato Furinji. At that place, he met strong people who would train him. They were classified as grandmasters of a higher level than ordinary masters. They can do some crazy things beyond the capabilities of ordinary humans, so they get the nickname superhumans. The members consist of a man named Shio Sakaki, the street fighter of 100 Dan and the Grand Master of Karate. In karate, the highest belt is a black belt or Dan, which has the highest level of 10. You can imagine how great Sakaki is, who has a skill level of 100 Dan. A man called the God of Death from Thailand named Apachai Hapachai, the Grand Master of Muay Thai. A man named Kensei Ma mastered all types of Chinese Kung Fu. A man named Akasama Kotsuji, an expert in everything, a Grand Master of Ninjutsu, an expert in neuromedicine and crafts, and a woman named Shigure Kasaka, an expert in various types of weapons. Reincarnation is a gathering place for grandmasters like them but called the dojo only as a cover, and Kenichi is the only student they train. Kotsuji became the first to train him physically so that his physical strength could qualify him to practice the techniques they would teach later. Miu had time to teach him the basic techniques of avoiding and attacking in martial arts, namely Koho and Heiho. The moment came when Kenichi had to deal with Daimonji, who had challenged him at the school's karate club yesterday. Kenichi uses Koho and Heiho to knock Daimonji down until he completely lies down. As a result, he managed to win the match, but he still left the karate club. The vice captain of the karate club named Saizo Sakuba, the holder of a black belt and the strongest in the school's karate club, feels attracted to Kenichi when he becomes the referee for the fight when Kenichi fights Daimonji. A week later, when Sakuba saw Kenichi, he invited him to fight immediately. Luckily, Sakaki had previously taught him one of the karate techniques called Yamazuki. This technique is Sakuba's weakness because he has a karate sports skill that combines boxing with karate. Receiving a hit in the stomach, Sakuba tried to retaliate, but Kenichi managed to restrain him with the moves taught by Kensei. Apachai often beats Kenichi very quickly, making Sakuba's fist feel slow for him. In addition, Kenichi was trained to lift a very heavy statue made by Kotsuji, so he easily slammed Sakuba's large body until he fainted. Seeing Sakuba lose, a male student named Haruo Nijima, the school's news club, spreads the news throughout the school. The news was heard by a woman named Kasara Nanjo, one of Ragnarok's captains. It can be said that Ragnarok is one of the strongest gangs in Japan, which has many members with several teams led by a captain, including Sakuba, one of her subordinates. After that incident, she asked her men to get rid of Sakuba and look for Kenichi. Unknowingly, Kenichi had been training at the Reincarnation for a month. Every time he comes home from school, Kenichi practices using tools to flex the body made by Kotsuji because his body is too stiff. Sakaki explained that in karate, there are two types of movements, namely Nahate, which relies on physical strength, and Surate, which relies on the speed of hand movements. Sakaki trains Kenichi to master Surate first. After that, Kensei taught Kenichi movements to train hand speed. Kenichi still practiced the move when walking in the middle of the city. Suddenly he is confronted by a man named Taichi Koga and his gang, who are Kasara's men and have expertise in Taekwondo. When fighting Koga, Kenichi tried to use Yamazuki's technique, but the attack was blocked by Koga easily. It was because his skill was centered on the feet. He tried to use the movement from Kensei, who he had just trained, and his punch managed to knock Koga down. After a while, Koga ordered all his men to kill Kenichi. But at the same time, all his gangs have been dropped by Miu, so he has run away from them. When Kotsuji trains Kenichi on the streets, they accidentally meet a group of delinquents who used to harass Miu. They brought in professional wrestlers to face Kotsuji. Kenichi was asked to pay attention to Kotsuji's jujutsu moves against the wrestler. First, when the enemy attacks, dodge, step forward and make sure to get to the point that is not visible to the opponent and hit him. Step forward, turn the attack, and slam when the enemy's punch has reached full speed. While at the dojo, Sakaki explained that human muscles are divided into three types: white muscles with great strength but not durable, red muscles with a lot of stamina but very weak, and pink muscles that combine the two. But few people have pink muscles. Humans can't change their muscle type, but Kotsuji is different, with 20 years of extreme training enabling him to get pink muscles. After training, Kenichi was confronted by a man named Takashi Furukawa, Kisara's subordinate, by pointing a knife at him. Previously, he had received the training of courage to face weapons taught by Shigure. Seeing a knife from an amateur did not make Kenichi feel afraid. Instead, he was able to defeat him easily using jujutsu techniques from Kotsuji. At the Ragnarok headquarters, Kisara orders two men named Kozo Ukita and Iki Takeda to confront Kenichi. After confronting Kenichi, the two of them challenge him to a fight on the roof of the school building. First, Ukita, an expert in judo, will fight Kenichi. Previously, Apachai had trained Kenichi in a basic Muay Thai attack technique called Kaoloi. This technique uses the knee as a fulcrum. He attacks Ukita and manages to make him faint instantly. After that, Kenichi will fight Takeda, who is Kisara's strongest subordinate. He is a professional boxer who only relies on his right hand to attack opponents because his left hand is paralyzed due to being hit by a very large block by a group of thugs while helping his friend. So Takeda can't participate in the competition anymore, which makes him feel frustrated, and he decides to join Ragnarok. When fighting Takeda, Kenichi found it difficult to launch his attack because Takeda got hit so many times that he fell. Soon after, Kenichi remembered that Apachai had told him the boxer's weakness was in the legs. He got up and attacked Takeda's legs. The effect of his attack makes Takeda's body feel shaking and weak, so Kenichi can attack him many times. Before Kaoloi's technique hit his head, Takeda could dodge it. Unfortunately, Takeda almost fell from the roof of the school building. Thankfully, Kenichi managed to save him. After that, Kenichi fainted from exhaustion. Not long after, Miu came and took him, Ukita, and Takeda to Ryuzenpaku for treatment. Kotsuji, an expert in nerve and bone medicine, helped them. Takeda was surprised when he followed Kotsuji's therapy because his paralyzed left hand could be cured. He is grateful that his dream of becoming a professional boxer can be a reality. After that, he decided to leave Ragnarok. Knowing the results of Ukita and Takeda's fight, Kisara decided to intervene alone against Kenichi, but she was prevented by a man named Shinosuke Tsuji. Just like Kisara, Tsuji is a team captain even though his men are not as many as her. He said that he would try to confront Kenichi. After dealing with Kenichi, Tsuji offers him to join his team, so Kenichi will no longer have to deal with Kisara and her men. But he refused, so Tsuji was angry that the two of them fought. Kenichi uses the techniques he learned to deal with Tsuji, but his attacks do not affect him, a street fighter. He has more experience than Kenichi because he has faced many enemies on the streets. Obviously, Tsuji has more experience than Kenichi, who is just practicing, so he can be more aggressive when attacking. Not long after, Takeda came and beat Tsuji. Although his left hand has not fully recovered, he can deal with Tsuji and his men easily. After that, Takeda saves Kenichi by taking him away from them. Knowing Kenichi lost, the masters at the Ryuzenpaku decided to provide even more extreme training. Kotsuji roasted him to train his stomach and back, Shigure trained him with courage against the enemy's sharp weapons, and Sakaki trained him to run using his hands. Suddenly Kenichi's younger sister, Hinoka Shirakawa, arrives. She wanted to see him, who was training at the Ryuzenpaku. At first, Hinoka didn't like it when Kenichi did that extreme exercise, but she accepted it because it was his wish to become stronger to protect the people he loved. Even now, Hinoka is friends with Apachai and Shigure and often plays with them while in Ryuzenpaku. After a long time, Tsuji finally meets Kenichi again. After his crazy training, it seems he's getting stronger. Even just one hit can make Tsuji bounce and faint. After that, Nijima informed Kenichi that Kisara had officially been appointed as the supreme leader of Ragnarok. Sakaki teaches karate techniques that he can use when dealing with many people. With this technique, Kenichi can knock down his opponent using only one hand. The trick is to use the wrist to fend off the opponent's attack while hitting the opponent's chin. Apachai teaches a technique that allows Kenichi to counterattack using his elbow. Kotsuji teaches several techniques to attack the opponent on the side of the stomach, rotate the opponent's hand, and cut the enemy's back and neck area. After that, he can use his knees to attack and slam his opponent. While Ukita and Takeda were walking, they were suddenly stopped by Kisara and her men, who wanted to punish them. But unwittingly, while they were fighting, Takeda's cell phone was called Kenichi's cell phone. After that, Kenichi and Miu looked for Ukita and Takeda's whereabouts. Kisara has taekwondo skills that rely on leg strength. When Ukita tried to throw her body, unexpectedly, it made Kisara able to launch a deadly leg kick attack that hit his face until he fainted. Seeing that, Takeda attacked Kisara with his punch, but she could block it with her foot. After that, all her men ganged up on them to a pulp. Luckily, Kenichi came and attacked them all. He felt very angry to see them gang up on Ukita and Takeda, who were already weak. On the other hand, Miu confronts Kisara because Kenichi doesn't want to fight a woman, so Miu takes his place. Fortunately, her skill managed to beat Kisara until she fainted. Seeing that opportunity, Nijima came with his gang called the Shinpaku Alliance and immediately killed the rest of Kisara's men. It turns out that Nijima has taken this incident into account and uses it as if his gang is stronger than Ragnarok. Nijima, as general governor, even claims Kenichi is the commander of the Shinpaku Alliance, so from now on, Ragnarok will regard the Shinpaku Alliance as his greatest enemy. The next day, Kensei teaches Kenichi how to practice good horses. This movement is good for holding back as well as attacking your opponent. Even Kensei also teaches techniques from his own flow by using his left hand to push the elbow of the right hand, which will be used to attack the opponent's chin. On the other hand, Miu is doing a play at school. Hearing this, Kasara came with her men to take revenge on her and disrupt the stage of the drama. Kenichi blocked them on the road and did not allow them to pass. After that, he beat them using all the techniques he had learned. Seeing that, Kasara was surprised because Kenichi's development was getting faster, making him stronger than the last time they met. He refused when she asked him to fight because she was a woman. Hearing that, Kasara got angry and immediately attacked him. Initially, her kicks could still be blocked by him. But as time passed, her attacks got stronger, making Kenichi fall down and get back up again. He got up again but didn't want to attack her. Finally, Kasara stopped the fight and left him. When Kenichi was walking home with Miu, suddenly, they were attacked by a mysterious man in a cloak named Natsu Tanamoto. Tanamoto intends to separate them by kicking Kenichi's body from the bridge so that he falls on a bus, and Tanamoto jumps on the bus too. Unknowingly, it turns out that Kensei and Sakaki are following Kenichi because they are worried that something will happen to him. After removing his cloak, it turns out that Tanamoto is Miu's opponent during a drama performance at school. Tanamoto asked if Kenichi learned martial arts techniques from his teacher, Sogetsu Ma, but Kenichi answered no. After that, he showed Kenichi his true self-defense. He uses a technique focusing on hand strength, with a fast arm rotation that deals massive damage. Soon afterward, he uses a technique that can destroy the AC bus to a dent. In addition, Tanamoto uses movement techniques from behind the opponent and attacks the enemy's neck. Even so, Kenichi could still survive his attack and attack his chin until they both bounced and fell from the bus's roof. After that, Kenichi was brought home by Kensei while Tanamoto was still holding the roof of the bus that was running. Arriving at the dojo, Kenichi asked Kensei who Sogetsu Ma was, but he didn't answer. He invited Kenichi to go to find food. While at a Chinese restaurant, they meet a woman named Renka Ma, who turns out to be Kensei's daughter. She felt angry because her father left the Phoenix Alliance with 10,000 followers in China and instead handed the alliance over to her mother. Renka intends to bring Kensei back to China, but instead, he runs away, leaving Kenichi. Renka gets information that Sogetsu is a mafia bodyguard. When she tries to fight Sogetsu, Renka is no match for him. Suddenly Kensei comes to save her until the first battle between the Grandmasters and the battle between the two strongest men in China occurs. Kensei uses techniques that focus on defense, such as Tai Chi flow, while Sogetsu uses techniques that focus on muscle and bone hardness, such as Hikaken flow. Seeing this, Kenichi was very amazed because he saw such a fierce battle for the first time that could destroy all the objects around them. After a long fight, Sogetsu finally can give Kensei an attack, but Kensei also countered with a stronger attack. Seeing the building that was almost on fire, he chose to admit defeat and asked Kensei to leave immediately. On the other hand, while at the restaurant, Nijima meets a man named Kyoichi Takame or Loki. Nijima and some of his members don't want to waste the opportunity and try to attack Loki alone. But Nijima is fooled instead because everyone in the restaurant is a member of Ragnarok. As a result, they were ganged up by the members of Ragnarok. Luckily Kenichi, Takeda, and Ukita accidentally passed by and helped him. Kenichi gave a Yamazuki technique which combines several martial arts techniques, followed by the cow loi and ox headbutt techniques until the enemy fell. But as it turned out, the one defeated by him was the fake Loki. One night, while Nijima was spying on Ragnarok, he was captured by a mysterious man named Hibiki Kyugenin or Siegfried. Knowing this, Kenichi tries to save Nijima and fights against Siegfried, who has his own self-defense technique called Gono-sen, or a counterattack specialist. That martial art can only be mastered by himself because his body has a very strong and flexible physical resistance, so Kenichi's technique does not work against his body. Siegfried even reversed his attack until Kenichi was cornered. After that, Kenichi tried a technique from the Shirahama style he had kept called Mabioshi, a technique he had made himself. His technique was based on a combination of the principles of boxing, karate, ninjutsu, kung fu, and muay thai. Siegfried's powerful blow from Kenichi pub couldn't be held back, sending him bouncing and falling. The next day when Kenichi was sitting in the Shinpaku Alliance room, Loki suddenly kidnapped Hinoka and called Nijima. Loki informs him that Kenichi's younger sister has been kidnapped by him. Knowing this, he rushes to the place where Hinoka was kidnapped, and there he is intercepted by Tanamoto. Kenichi looks difficult to overcome the dangerous techniques of the Kaken flow carried out by Tanamoto. Then he found another way, namely by locking the movement of Tanamoto's hand. However, Tanimoto surprises Kenichi that he can also use Hyakuken's flow, which is suitable at close range. After that, Tanimoto deals with a Shintake attack, a Hakken technique that causes internal damage to the opponent with an attack centered on the opponent's chest. The technique really overwhelmed Kenichi. Even so, he wouldn't give up on saving Hanoka. Kenichi also uses a technique that can push the opponent as hard as possible using both hands, causing Tanimoto to bounce. He is surprised to learn that Kenichi can use Hyakuken's techniques. Seeing their fight, which tends to be a draw, makes Loki run out of patience. He decides to fight Kenichi himself. In martial arts, Loki may be the weakest among the members, but he is the most cunning among the others. He will do whatever it takes to win the fight, even if he beats Kenichi down and threatens him to hurt Hanoka if he fights back. Seeing this, Tanimoto suddenly remembered his past. When he saw his younger sister die, he couldn't take it anymore and decided to leave Ragnarok. He forcibly took the knife pointed at Hanoka belonging to Loki's men and beat him. Knowing Hanoka had been saved, Kenichi immediately beat Loki using the Mabiyoshi technique. Not long after, a man named Ryuto Asamiya, or Odin, the first boxer and leader of Ragnarok, arrived. He tells Loki to stop doing stupid things. Otherwise, he will destroy him. After that, the fight was stopped. While being treated at the hospital, Tanimoto was visited by Kensei. He felt very happy because he could meet a great student from Sogetsu. Kensei, who is an acupuncturist, immediately treats Tanimoto until he recovers. On the other hand, Ukita, Takeda, and Kenichi were forced to officially join the Shinpaku Alliance due to various pressures from Nijima. After that, Nijima brings the three to fight a man named Yuma Chiaki, or Thor, and his men in a fighting gambling center. He is a modern sumo wrestler. Kenichi will fight Thor with sumo rules, where the one who leaves the arena loses. Fighting Thor, who has a large body, initially overwhelms him. Even Thor has more experience with sumo than him. However, Kenichi did not want to give up and continued to fight. Kenichi fought him using the strongest combo 1 technique, which closed with Kuchiki Daoshi by throwing Thor out of the arena with a single leg takedown. As a reward for Kenichi's victory, Thor left Ragnarok, following Siegfried, who had already left Ragnarok. This was followed by Kasara, who also decided to leave Ragnarok after experiencing an internal dispute with a woman named Kaneme Kubitachi, or Freya, because of differences in idealism. When Kenichi was walking with Miu at the playground as a child, he accidentally met Odin. Kenichi is shocked to learn that Odin, Ragnarok's first boxer and leader, is his childhood friend. Odin feels angry that he has forgotten their childhood promise. Odin reminds him that they once promised to prove who will be stronger in the future. To Odin, Kenichi seemed to be no match for him at all. Odin explains that he uses the Seikuken technique, which can create a circle of control around the user that is useful for defense and attack. All of Kenichi's attacks can always be blocked easily by him. To end the fight, he uses the crisscross strike technique, which makes Kenichi immediately fall down. After that, he took Kenichi's yin-yang pin as a token of victory. Seeing a lot of Ragnarok members coming out made Nijima make a split move against them. He used various ways to recruit them. Thor and Siegfried voluntarily join him because he promises something good. Nijima also wants to recruit Kasara by force by threatening to spread her hobby that likes playing with cats. Then, she finally agrees. On the other hand, Kenichi will be trained directly by Miu's grandfather, Hayato Furinji. Hearing Hayato, who wanted to teach Kenichi, immediately made the Ryuzenpaku grandmasters feel shocked. They were worried that Kenichi might die if he did a series of crazy exercises with him later. After that, Hayato took Kenichi to the Yamagatami forest and told him to look for food on his own for a week. Unable to hold back his hunger due to difficulty finding food, Kenichi fainted in the forest. Luckily, he was saved by a man named Isshinsai Agata, who showed him that he could easily hunt bears. Kenichi considers Isshinsai a grandmaster. In addition, he offers Kenichi to become his student and will teach him killing techniques that will help him become the strongest person in the world. But Kenichi refused and returned to Hayato. As it turned out, Isshinsai was Odin's master. After struggling to survive for a week, Hayato judges Kenichi as a Sei-type martial arts fighter. Each martial arts expert is divided into 2 types. Sei, who tend to be calm like Takeda, Kensei, Kotsuji, and Shigure. And Dao types tend to be aggressive like Miu, Apachai, Sakaki, and Hayato. Shortly afterward, Hayato teaches the Seikuken technique to Kenichi. After he manages to get the Seikuken out, Hayato trains him to use it even better by doing a lot of much crazier exercises. Seeing Kasara joining the Shinpaku Alliance, Freya gets angry and comes to her. She is a jujitsu practitioner who fights using sticks. When fighting Freya, Kasara struggled until she was hit multiple times. Kasara couldn't even attack. Even Kaname could separate her stick into 2 pieces and attack her from various sides. Finally, Kasara could see Freya's weakness when she was above, so she used the double hammer kick technique by kicking with both feet. After seeing both of her sticks broken, Freya admitted defeat. On the other hand, she was happy that Kasara had grown stronger. Loki, who saw the Shinpaku alliance getting stronger, decided to move all the members of Ragnarok to fight the Shinpaku alliance. Although the members of Ragnarok are far more numerous, Shinpaku consists of strong people who were previously from Ragnarok. Even Tanemoto decided to help Shinpaku because of his grudge against Loki. Seeing the chaos that occurred because of Loki made Odin take him out of Ragnarok. Loki, ready to be expelled, made a new group of his own. He offered his leadership position to a man named Shogo Kitsukawa, or Berserker. Loki even founded a new holy Ragnarok and offered the other Ragnarok members the choice of either following Odin or himself. When the Ragnarok members are provoked and want to attack Odin, Berserkers instead attack Loki and his members. After Ragnarok's internal affairs were finished, Odin approached Thor and gave a very strong Tentake attack on his chest. When Odin was about to take out the second Tentokai and intend to kill Thor, Kenichi suddenly came and saved him. The Ragnarok members who tried to beat Kenichi were easily beaten back by him using Seikyuken. After that, start the fight between Tanemoto against the Berserkers. Besides Kenichi, Tanemoto also underwent extreme training after leaving Ragnarok. Berserker wanted to see how far Tanemoto had grown. Berserker possesses the natural abilities of an invincible street fighter and has defeated many martial practitioners. He locked Tanemoto's neck and threw his body. Tanemoto immediately got up and showed his kung fu skills to his grandmaster, Sogetsu Ma. Berserker was happy that Tanemoto had finally become stronger than before. Then he launched a powerful kick that Tanemoto couldn't resist. Feeling that he had won, Berserker was caught off guard and took a hit from Tanemoto using the same technique as the previous Kenichi. Tanemoto continuously attacked the Berserkers. Getting that attack, Berserker was actually happy because he finally got a comparable opponent so he could activate his fast hit mode, so his strokes became random, and his rhythm could not be read by the opponent. All of Berserker's blows were difficult for Tanemoto to withstand. Even so, he deliberately provoked close combat so he could use Seikyuken and Yauken flows alternately to end Berserker. When Berserker was careless, Tanemoto attacked him so hard that he broke his arm. But Berserker can still use his hands to hit because he is very talented, even though he has never studied martial arts. In the end, Berserker, for the first time, was able to be defeated by his opponent, making him feel frustrated. Soon after that, Tanemoto left the next fight to Odin and Kenichi. When the battle took place, Odin was surprised to see Kenichi could use the Seikyuken technique, even though he did not know the technique before. Odin thought Kenichi must have been trained in Seikyuken by a monster, so they fought Seikyuken territory. Even though they both use Seikyuken, Odin is still superior to Kenichi. He tried to use the technique he first learned from Miu in the form of Kung Fu, namely Koho and Heiho. After that, Odin's glasses came off, so his vision became blurry, but he used the same inner eye technique as Seikyuken. Where the user sees from the mind's eye and remembers the opponent's rhythm, his Seikyuken is far superior and impenetrable. Even Odin can issue a technique that can launch a punch many times without being blocked by Kenichi. Kenichi also tried his strongest technique, Mabiyoshi. Unfortunately, Odin's thick defense still couldn't be penetrated. Realizing that all his attacks can be overcome because of his monotonous rhythm, Kenichi changes his rhythm with the Ryozenpaku rhythm technique. This technique is done by imitating all the rhythms of all his grandmasters in Ryozenpaku, starting with Apachai's Muay Thai and Sakeki's karate, even so much so that Kenichi imitates his laughing style. After that, Kenichi switched to Kung Fu from Kensei's rhythm. The Ryozenpaku grandmasters were amazed by how he imitated. Then he imitated Shigure's rhythm as a weapon expert. Seeing that, Shigure was pleased with him. The last time he used the ninjutsu of Kotsuji's rhythm, the grandmasters of Ryozenpaku were very happy to see their students in action. Humiliated at being cornered by Kenichi, Odin is forced to use his last technique. He activated the forbidden technique created by Isshinsai that could combine Kisei and Dao. Kisei focuses on energizing from within, and Ki-Dao provides energy from without. The combination of the two can increase its strength of Odin doubled. Instantly, the Ryozenpaku rhythm technique was no longer useful against Odin. Seeing this, Isshinsai was happy because Odin had voluntarily become his guinea pig to perfect the technique. As a result, Odin won, but he still wanted to give his last attack to Kenichi. On the other hand, Isshinsai feels attracted to Kenichi and tries to take them both away. Unfortunately, Ryozenpaku prevented Isshinsai from getting involved in the fight between students. It seemed that the side effects of the forbidden technique had already begun to take effect in Odin's body. Seeing this, Kenichi ended his fight and took all his remaining strength to save Odin. To save him, Kenichi expended all his strength on the final blow. Odin, who lost, also handed his yin-yang pin back to Kenichi. Afterward, Isshinsai brings Odin while telling Hayato that Ryozenpaku will not be the strongest forever. This is the end of the first season of the anime. The moral that can be learned from this anime is not to give up if you are weak, because all strong people come from weak people who practice a lot.